Bette Davis once stood frozen backstage as her greatest enemy walked onto the Oscar stage and accepted a win that should have humiliated her. But what happened after that moment didn't just expose one feud, it revealed a pattern of conflict that followed Bette Davis her entire life. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why no one in Hollywood ever truly felt safe around her. The night of the Academy Awards in 1963 wasn't just about gold statues. It was about revenge. Bette Davis had poured herself into whatever happened to Baby Jane, a role that revived her career and reminded Hollywood who she was. She was nominated. Joan Crawford wasn't. So Crawford made her move. She contacted the other nominees in secret and offered to accept the Oscar on their behalf. When and Bancroft won, Crawford walked onto the stage, dressed like a queen, and took the award as cameras flashed. Bette Davis watched from backstage, humiliated in silence. That moment wasn't spontaneous. It was calculated. Their hatred had been building for decades through stolen roles, romantic rivalry, and studio politics. But this was Crawford's final strike, and it worked. After that night, Davis never softened. She mocked Crawford publicly, dismissed her talent, and after Crawford's death delivered one of the coldest lines in Hollywood history. This feud didn't fade. It became legend. Quotes, "Her eyebrows are like African caterpillars," said by Davis about Joan Crawford, in reference to her screen persona and style. "My mother always said, don't say anything bad about the dead. Only say good. Joan Crawford is dead. Good." Bette Davis's infamous remark after Crawford's death. Davis once sneered at Crawford's stylized image, and decades later, when Crawford died, Davis offered one of Hollywood's coldest parting lines. "My mother always said, only say good. Joan Crawford is dead. Good." Olivia de Havilland didn't fight Bette Davis loudly. She didn't need to. Where Davis was raw and explosive, de Havilland was calm, controlled, and universally admired. And that contrast infuriated Davis. During In This Our Life, de Havilland reportedly criticized Davis's intensity, suggesting it bordered on excess. To Davis, that wasn't artistic critique, it was betrayal. From that moment on, Davis dismissed de Havilland as emotionally hollow, while de Havilland quietly stepped away, refusing to engage. The silence between them spoke louder than any insult. Quotes, de Havilland says Davis's intensity sometimes crossed into excess. Widely reported interpretation of their clash. De Havilland was known for composure and calm, and she reportedly felt Davis's emotional approach sometimes went too far. Bette Davis believed acting was war. Errol Flynn treated it like a party. Flynn showed up late, unprepared, and confident that charm would carry him through. Davis despised this. She openly criticized his discipline, his skill, and his seriousness as an actor. Flynn retaliated behind the scenes, mocking her intensity and appearance. Their mutual contempt made collaboration unbearable, and Davis later used Flynn as proof that Hollywood rewarded charisma over craft. This feud deepened her bitterness toward the industry itself. Quotes, Flynn joked he knew nothing about acting, and Davis once agreed, calling it honesty. Flynn reportedly said this. Davis later echoed a sentiment about his skill. Errol Flynn famously acted with charm, not discipline, and Davis once quipped that Flynn's own admission, that he didn't know much about acting, was honest. Tallulah Bankhead was chaos. Bette Davis was control. Their personalities collided instantly. Bankhead mocked Davis for being rigid and joyless. Davis accused Bankhead of squandering talent through excess and indulgence. The insults traveled fast through parties, interviews, and private conversations until the rivalry became common knowledge. Neither woman backed down. This feud wasn't about roles or awards, it was about dominance. Quotes, Bankhead mocked Davis for taking acting too seriously. Davis saw that as indulgence. Reported dynamic of their rivalry, reflecting conflicting personalities. Bankhead's free-spirited chaos clashed with Davis's self-discipline. And while no exact line survives in print, accounts describe Bankhead dismissing Davis's intensity as overkill, something Davis returned with equal sharpness. Miriam Hopkins didn't expect war. But during Old Acquaintance, that's exactly what she got. Every scene became a battlefield. Every line felt like a challenge. Hopkins accused Davis of deliberately overpowering her performance. Davis dismissed Hopkins as fragile and insecure. They avoided rehearsals together. The tension poisoned the set. When the film ended, so did any illusion of professionalism between them. Quotes: Hopkins felt Davis tried to overpower every scene. Commonly reported dynamic from film production accounts. Hopkins later said Davis seemed intent on dominating their scenes together, a clash of strong personalities that left both bitter. In interviews, Davis admitted that despite the hatred, she also acknowledged Crawford's professionalism, proof that even simmering feuds can contain layers. Quotes: When I would ask her about Joan Crawford, she would just go on about how much she hated her, but also that she was a professional and she admired that. Ryan Murphy recounting Davis's interview words. In interviews, Davis admitted that despite the hatred, she also acknowledged Crawford's professionalism, proof that even simmering feuds can contain layers.